Fox News alert as Paris authorities open a counterterrorism investigation after police shot and wounded a man who attacked an officer with a hammer outside of Notre Dame Cathedral earlier today. Police say the attacker was carrying the identification card of an Algerian student. The French Interior Minister now saying that President Macron's #1 priority is fighting terrorism. Robin Simcox joins me now. He is the Terror and National Security Analyst for the Margaret Thatcher Center at the Heritage Foundation. Thank you for joining us. What's your initial take on what we saw today?
Well, it's once again we're seeing an attack in France, and even in Notre Dame. Notre Dame itself was targeted last summer. ISIS, you may remember, 2 of its operatives slit the throat of a priest at Mass in Normandy last summer. So ISIS likes to target religious institutions. It likes to target France. So it's no surprise that we've seen religious institutions in France once again targeted, and especially significant perhaps because we've seen the offensive on Raqqa begin, and some kind of response to that seemed inevitable.
Even though this is as low-tech as it comes, you know, he came in wielding a hammer, hit a police officer in the head with that, but apparently he was armed with other knives. The reports say kitchen knives. He cried, "This is for Syria." If you couple it together with everything else that has been going on and the attacks that we have seen here and in London, what should the response be?
Well, this is the big problem for European countries, really. I mean, I think there are some things you have to do. You have to increase counter-terrorism spending in certain countries, get the intelligence sharing apparatus within those countries right, deport national security terror suspects where possible, prevent people coming into the country who are a potential threat. This individual was from Algeria, so there needs to be questions asked around that. But ultimately, you have this ideology that's propelling these groups, and that ideology shows no sign of weakening. As long as it doesn't, you're going to have attacks like this. Okay,
so let's break down some of the things that you said there. You said prevent people coming into the country. You know, he was traveling from Algeria. Obviously, that is an incredibly hot-button issue here in the U.S. right now as we talk about trying to limit the travel of people who are either coming from places, you know, that are hotbeds of terrorism or where governments can't have fallen apart in essence, and it's very difficult to judge, you know, whether these people are safe to travel here or not. It's a big issue here. So how do you respond to the uproar?
Well, absolutely. And I think Europe is a great example of what happens when you get this policy wrong. And this isn't just a recent phenomenon. In the 1990s, Europe took in a whole host of refugees and asylum seekers from countries like Algeria and Egypt and Libya and Jordan. They were people who were fleeing authoritarian nations, but a lot of those that came in were, to be frank, national security threats. They were Islamists who helped radicalize a generation of people in Europe. So there are very clear incentives to get this right and very clear consequences when governments get this wrong.